Hello, my name's Hal. I'm the Head of Design here at d3t, and we've got some information that should help you through your studies. So who am I? Well, my name's Hal Sandbach and I'm the Head of Design at d3t. I have a greyhound called Franklin, and here she is in the back of my car with my daughter. My daughter, now 9, has a great line in superhero stances, and my time in game design has definitely led me to be interested in psychology, and I would happily talk to you about it for hours, but thankfully for you, that's not what we're here for today. So about me. I started working in games before there were any game design courses at university. Indeed, it was not really considered a viable career, and not one that I really considered until after I'd finished. Before that, I got a law degree and singularly failed to get into the law profession. So personally, I find that I really enjoy being creative, and my own outlet for this, other than making games, is with writing. Way back in '97, I started working for Psygnosis, then I moved to Codemasters, Warthog, Evolution, and then d3t. In that time, I've worked with countless brilliant people, but the industry has been maturing too. So now I'm keen to make sure we make the best games, but that we also make them in the best ways. And this is a bit where I tell you about what we look for when hiring a graduate designer. So what skills are important? Being able to use a software package like Unreal or Unity is obviously very useful, as it means you can hit the ground running. More important though, is being able to communicate. Why is that? Well, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked. If I was interviewing an applicant, I'd want to know how they thought. How do they go about addressing a problem? From where do they get their inspiration? To be able to really dig into those, you need to be able to communicate, but you'll also need those skills whenever you're in a position to discuss design ideas with a team. I will also want to ensure that you come at problems from a player's perspective. You need to have that empathy, be able to understand what they're going to want, what they're going to need, and what they're going to appreciate. And it's also really important that you have a good understanding of what drives players, or rather, the many and varied motivators that can drive player behaviour. If you know all that, that's a good start, but from my point of view, none of those are what's going to convince me to hire you. And that's because I need to know you as a person. We can teach you skills, but it's vital that you and d3t would fit together. So I'd be interested to know what you know. What topics can you bore people with? Whether it's how Vikings navigated at sea, or the interpersonal relationships of the Everton dressing room in the 90s, or a detailed awareness of what happens to a human body under intense physical pressure. What do you know that others don't? Similarly, from where do you draw your reference? I'm a firm believer in having a breadth of knowledge. I'm sure you know a lot about Westeros and Tatooine, but what about the pirate republic of the 18th century, or the problems with the Royal Navy's home fleet in 1916? The more you know about weird, random stuff, the greater your library of reference material. Which is really a way of saying that I want to know how curious you are. Curiosity to me means an active search for knowledge. A lack of curiosity, therefore, is a warning sign, because it means someone is just happy knowing what they know. So that's that. I want you, as a potential designer, to know random stuff that probably has little use, other than as knowledge that might perhaps one day be relevant to something you're working on. And that's really what I look for. So I hope that helps.